Hello, welcome to Lab 1 of Tech Fundamentals for Analytics. I'd like to go over a little bit about what we're doing in this lab and why we're doing it. First, we're seeing an emergence of additional technologies in data science that are more consistent with what you would find in application development. And so in application development, often you have to worry about things like making sure that your development environment is extremely consistent with some type of production environment in which you're deploying your applications. Similarly, in data science, if you're doing scientific applications or market-based applications that are eventually going to be deployed, you also have to similarly make sure that the type of environment they're using for developing these initial analyses are also there. So it's really this deployment stage that is one aspect of driving the emergence of these more complex development environment for analytics. In addition, whilst traditional statistics, you may have done the majority of your work, say within a single application, maybe SAS or SPSS, increasingly these hacking skills of taking advantage of libraries that might be created via Python or other languages require you to use a more complex environment than a single application. And as a result, you want to put together a development environment that makes the deployment of these environments relatively easily. So what we want out of a development environment is a way to deploy it consistently amongst a group of developers, and then eventually potentially within a production environment. We want to be able to easily track and distribute changes to this environment. So if there are new packages or programs that need to be installed, we can do that in a manageable fashion. And so the things that we'll be using in our development environment are a variety of different programs. First, Git is a great version control system. We're going to be using it to really manage updates within the system. If there's any changes that I make, I'll be making them using Git and distributing those through GitHub and GitHub Desktop. These are really useful tools that we'll be going over in this lab that make it relatively easy to share applications amongst a wide group of people and interact with that relatively easily. We'll be also using a Ubuntu server. This Ubuntu server will be running in a virtualized environment on your desktop using VirtualBox, which will facilitate this process. So your particular operating system, whether it's a Mac, a PC, or even Linux environment, will act as the host, and VirtualBox will essentially allow you to run a guest machine. This is additional operating system that will be running on your computer, and that virtual machine will be built with something called Vagrant. Vagrant is a very cool tool that allows you to distribute reproducible development environments that are easy to modify, change those and distribute those modifications, and create really something that you can use on almost any type of machine. Chef works with Vagrant to deploy some of the changes to what Vagrant calls the base box. So there's a base virtual machine that everyone will download, and then we'll make changes relative to that to really build the data science environment on your local PC. To start off with Lab 1, you want to make sure that you have 4 things ready. So first, you want to have a GitHub account. GitHub account is free to create. Just go to github.com, log on, and create the account. You also want to install GitHub Desktop. GitHub Desktop will allow you to easily work with Git and GitHub to download changes and so forth. And next, you want to download VirtualBox. VirtualBox, again, is the virtual machine platform that allows us to run guest virtual machines on our computer. And then finally, you want to download and install Vagrant from Vagrant.com. All of these are listed in the lab, and we'll give you a few minutes to do that and come right back.